17 unbeaten. Oh, sorry, wrong show. Hello, lads and ladies, and welcome back for another live stream on the channel. 2nd of March. Hope you're well. I'm really sorry we didn't do a show yesterday. All will be revealed why there was no show. But to join me is my partner in crime, my good buddy. He supports Lincoln City. That's how we know each other. How are you, mate? How are you doing? Unmute yourself.
Mate, I was in the process of doing it. I'm good. Yeah. Oh, good, mate. Yeah. Look, it's just what we do, isn't it? It's just what we do. We win games of football. Yeah, no, I'm good, mate. I'm in a very chipper mood. I'm feeling good. I've had a good weekend. And yeah, mate, life's just top at the minute, isn't it? Like life is just very, very good at this minute in time. So I'm enjoying the ride, nappers. Most importantly, how are you and how was your weekend?
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. I went away this weekend. I got back. I flew home this morning, got back about 3 o'clock, went straight to the gym, prepared for League One Live in Prague Airport. I'll be honest with you, my prep wasn't exact. I put normally 3-4 hours in. There's probably only been about an hour and a half today. So if I'm not as well, if I'm not as, if I'm bad but worse than I normally am, I do apologise. But like I said, I've tried to watch every game back if I can. Looked at different games, looked at stats at different games. It's been a long weekend, put it that way, in Prague, and a really good weekend, Jake. Obviously, you enjoyed the football. I believe Fleetwood played. I think they drew 0-0. Fair enough. Yeah, great win, wasn't it? Great win for you. You believing yet?
Not officially. Not on these channels. Yeah, no. But it's just a 4-0 win, isn't it, mate? It's just at home. It's just what we do. I think in February we scored. Oh, I'm trying to count how many goals we scored now in February. 3 4s, a 2.
4 against Northampton, 4 against Plymouth,
4 against
2
Blackpool,
against Mansfield. Yeah.
Another 1 against Bolton.
Yeah.
But you know, this Lincoln team will fall off at some point.
Absolutely. If you ask David, the Bolton fan, he's waiting for it. He's waiting.
Oh, mate, I know he'll be watching, right? So
he's a great lad.
The Fan Zone podcast are not live tonight, so I am anticipating that Bolton fans are going to be here. And naturally, like they've won 5-1. But I don't know if you're going to use this, Ben, or if you weren't going to use this, but imagine winning 5-1 away from home, thinking, "Oh my god, like we've won 5-1 away from home, like we're going to make some ground up, at least on goal difference on the top 2." And then you look at the results, and your heart sinks and goes, well, we've actually made no ground up. In fact, we're probably as far away as we ever been. So I do feel for them. They are trying hard, bless them. But yeah, they won't leave me alone, Bolton fans. They will not leave me alone.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about Bolton. We'll start off with them. But hope you're all well in the chat. If you could do us a favour, give us a like, give us a subscription. That would be massively appreciated. Exeter 1, Bolton Wanderers 5 wasn't maybe what I had on my card for the weekend's games. Exeter normally really good at home. Bolton not so good at home. And again, Sam Delby scored some very important goals this season. Opened the scoring. Kenny getting the second with a nice bit of play. It was a really good move. Jaden Wareham did pull one back for Exeter through Jaden Wareham, who has been on fire this year. Certainly for me, I think he's been one of the best centre forwards in the league like this season, and he scored Exeter's last 5 league goals, and that's great for him. But are they too reliant on Jaden Wareham these days? You could say if he's not on it, or Exeter on it, you could say. David McGoldrick has actually scored the last 6 goals for Barnsley, actually. So, only David McGoldrick has scored more goals in February. But going back to Bolton, you know, first time they scored 5+ games in an away game since the 5-0 win over Peterborough back in February 2023. And they were poor away from home, weren't they? They'd only won 1 game up until Mansfield in the middle of December. But since they've seemed to have sorted it out, they've only lost 3 on the road in the last 11. Their issue is they've drawn 4 and they've won 4. And at home, they've been good, but they've dropped points and they've not been perfect. And they are 10 games unbeaten, this Bolton side. This Bolton side are on a really good run. Like, that has to be said, that they've 10 games, they've taken 22 points, they've won 6, they've drawn 4. In any other world, that's a great run. But we're looking at a point away at Reading as disappointment. We're looking at a point away at Lincoln, who are 17 games away, as disappointment. And they're on a really good run. But ultimately, the two teams above them are just getting more points, and it just, whatever you can do, we'll match it or do a tiny little bit better. And that's what Lincoln are doing right now. That's what Cardiff are doing right now. They won by 4 goals the other day, 5-1. Cardiff won 4-0 away. Lincoln, so they made no ground up on goal difference. They made no ground up on points. But they've been fantastic. And I think it was coming that, where they score lots of goals, they create lots of chances, because Bolton, evidently, their XG is the first in the division. The goals is only the 6th. 50 goals, 14% of those coming against Exeter. Goals conceded, only Lincoln have conceded less goals this year, 31. Possession, they have the most possession in the league. Clean sheets, they've kept 10 now this season. Shots on target per game, second. Cardiff more, Lincoln just below them. So stats-wise, they are there. That's where they want to be. But ultimately, they're not where they want to be in the table, and the third. But ultimately, a great result for Bolton Wanderers, and it should give them some confidence in these last 11 games when they face a playoff campaign.
Well, absolutely. That's the thing, isn't it, for Bolton? They want to be in good form going into the playoffs, because it's important. You don't want to be going in there off the back of 3 or 4 defeats, do you? And then all of a sudden, negative momentum. And trust me, I've seen Lincoln go into the League One playoffs in bad momentum, and we should have gone up and that super team that we had, and we never actually did. But yes, I will give credit to Bolton Wanderers, because I thought on Saturday they were absolutely outstanding away from home. Everything that you want away from home. I thought Johnny Kenny has looked bright. I think when he came on against us, that was the start of it. He missed a bit of a sitter away at Reading, but I think he's been better since coming into the team, and it was probably his best performance in a Bolton shirt on Saturday. Sam Dolby, again, a goal and 2 assists. I think that man is just up there.
He's more effective, hasn't he?
In terms of in-form centre forwards, obviously there was one at the other end of the pitch in Jaden Wareham that you mentioned, and David McGoldrick, but there's not many more that have picked up more points for their team than Sam Dolby has in recent weeks. You think about, was it the 2 against Burton, the goal against Leyton, Orient, the goal at Central Bank, again the opening goal yesterday to set them on their way, and what was actually quite an impressive team move that down the right hand side, and Kenny cut across for Dolby to tap in. But what I liked about Bolton was, whereas on the road they've been quite shaky, when they got to 2-1, an Exeter score through Jaden Wareham, who, like you say, Ben, is having a really good individual campaign despite Exeter's lowly position and clear financial issues on and off the pitch, right? This Bolton team, I think, of maybe 4 months ago would have panicked in that moment and gone under a little bit, and I think they would have they'd have been shook, and I think they'd have dropped points. But this version of Bolton on this unbeaten run that they're on, in which they are unbeaten in so many games, certainly away from home, which has been a lot better, they went and stood on the throat of Exeter and said, do you know what? We know we've got the quality. We're just going to go and kill the game off now, because that's what we can do. And Bolton have had loads of... And this will be frustrating for Bolton fans, because I certainly think they've had a lot of games where they've been in this position and they've made the chances like they did on Saturday and not taken them, and that is ultimately why they are third in the league, 10 points behind the Automatics. I can understand exactly why Bolton fans are frustrated, because Saturday proved to me that when this Bolton team are on song, nobody in this league can go pound for pound with them, level for level. It's going to be incredibly difficult. There were some good performances in there. Thierry Gale, there was Sissoko as well. But Johnny Kenny really stole the headlines for me. I thought it was excellent. A really good win for Bolton. And like you say, even if the fans maybe have written off the top 2, like we say, it's so important to go into those playoffs with momentum, because I think the other what it helps at this minute in time, but when you look at the teams that are in the playoffs, Stockport, Bradford, Huddersfield are all staggering into the top 6 at this minute in time. Bolton are stood there with a chest up going, do you know what? We realise that Wembley, we're not maybe going to get where we want to go, but we're going to make the best of a bad situation, and we're going to prove to you why we have been so far clear of these other teams behind us in the league table. And for that, I have a lot of admiration to Bolton. So, massive win for them. I don't know if you want to touch on On Exeter, obviously disappointed. It seems since Gary Colwell's left the football club, there's been a bit of an adverse reaction.
Needing new manager in.
Yeah, a little bit of stick going towards the interim manager, and it's not always easy for interim managers. I mean, you've got one at your club yourself, Nappers. You know how difficult it is to get behind him. I obviously know when we had Tom Shaw a couple of years ago, how difficult it is.
He wins games at Tim Pot sides away from home, doesn't he?
You said it for me, Ben. Didn't even need to say it, did I?
But plays miles on side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I mean, for Exeter, it is alarming, and you do really wonder if this Exeter team, without Jaden Wareham, where on earth would they be? You know, him and Niskanen really seems to be carrying this Exeter team at the minute, and when they're not, you know, when they find it difficult and they're playing against the top teams, they're struggling. And what they have been, while they're very good at home, they had the odd battering at home, haven't they? Obviously, the 4-0 against Rotherham and this 5-1. Now, that will concern me. I don't think going to Exeter now without Gary Colwell is as scary as it was 4 weeks ago.
Yeah. With Exeter, they were cohesive. They knew what they wanted to do, and they were organised, and they had something about them. And extra away is like a Brighton, a Crystal Palace, and Everton away. They're not the best, but they can shock you. And if Exeter beat Lincoln City 2-1, yes, it would be a shock, but it would go, they do that. You know, sides like Exeter, and I hate using that phrase, get results on a regular basis like that.
So let's not talk it into existence, Ben. Come on.
Exactly. But you mentioned Sam Dolby, 6 goals, 3 assists in his last 7 for the boy. For a player that was 26, and I look at him and I'll go through his spell, he's never really found a home. And I think at Bolton, he's useful in League One. He can hold it, can pin defenders. He's the ultimate of what Bolton don't have, and that's nice footballers. He's not, and he's a good footballer, but he's not this tippy-tappy that's going to go and glide past defenders. Josh Sheehan, your Rob Apters that are going to be your flair plays, your X factors. What he's going to be is he'll hold it, he'll pin defenders, he'll pinch, he'll be nasty, he'll be a bit of a figure, an outball. He can score goals, he can get in the box. He's not the quickest, he's not the sharpest tool in the box, but ultimately he's a League One footballer.
He's not sexy, he's effective.
You need players like that in a League One season that will score you between 10, 15 goals a season, that score you big goals. There's a player called Big Goal Reedy, apparently, in League One. Apparently he's back now.
I've never heard of him.
No, never heard of him. Doesn't really mention him. So if you could...
Oh, you mean the team that's still outside the playoffs?
Yeah, he'll be going there. We always love Big Goal Reedy. Let the boy.
Well done on your race win the other day, Farley, by the way. Congratulations.
Absolutely well done, Farley. The only thing Stevenage will be winning this year. But for Exeter, the issue has been they've drawn a few more lately, obviously, but the drawing, they've lost 14. I don't think anyone in this league is season over yet, because I'm talking 50 points, 51 points to go and get you safe. Now, you look for the playoff, Peterborough 6 off the playoff, they're on 46. Plymouth, 46. Well, as soon as you get to 50, 51 points, I think in the next 2 or 3 weeks, you'll start saying season over. Actually, you're looking at going to get another 9 or 10 points. And if they go and lose 2 or 3 in a row, I'm not saying they will, but I think they could be in trouble. I genuinely do. So it wasn't great the other day. Bolton were great. Bolton were what I expect them to be. 22 shots, 10 on target. This has been a level, consistent performance. If you were to look at the stat maps, it was fairly routine for Bolton. Now, look, they're coming into games. Wycombe at home, Rotherham away, Doncaster at home, Port Vale away, Stevenage at home. If Bolton can go and win all 5 of those games, I think the top 2 is back on. Because ultimately, Lincoln might drop points and you might halve the deficit to 5 points with 6 or 7 games to go. No, don't do it. And all of a sudden it becomes close again. But ultimately, Bolton's next 6 games are the brutal ones. And ultimately, I don't want to hear Bolton fans cry about it. I don't want to hear football fans cry about it, because you're playing Stockport at home, Cardiff away, Huddersfield at home, Bradford away, Luton at home. Boo-hoo. If you want to get promoted to the Championship, they are the types of games that should be bare minimum you're winning every week in the Championship to stay up. They're not as good as that. I think Bolton Wanderers will have to go and get in the excess of 29 points from the next 33. Can they go and win 9 and go and draw 2? Maybe. But they'll have to be pretty perfect. The issue is, Bolton are like a rainbow. They have a lot of sunshine, but not too far away is a downfall, and then the rainfall appears. A big welcome, by the way. Thank you to Links, Jack, for gifting 1 membership as well. And a big thank you for David for becoming a YouTube member. You can become a YouTube member down below for the latest content. There's going to be another one up this week, some point as well. Moving on, Doncaster 0, Cardiff 4. These teams just winning by 4-0. It's just too easy, isn't it? No team has scored more goals than Cardiff City away from home this season, 26 of them, and 29 points on the road. However, Lincoln have 28 from 16, playing 1 game less. They do play each other on the weekend. Just 1 defeat in 14 for Barry Murphy's Bluebirds, winning 9 of whom, and they've scored 3 goals or more in 12 of their games this season. For a side that didn't really recruit, got written off, myself personally, didn't think they were the quite real deal yet. 22 wins, that's nearly 1 win away, and you've won half your games in a full 46 games with 12 games to go. 72 points, 11 clear of Bolton Wanderers, and some unbelievable football played the other day. This Cardiff City team, they just keep on rolling through it. No matter what Lincoln throw at them, no matter what others below throw at them, Cardiff say, pressure? What pressure?
Yeah, I mean, again, like, how wrong were we about Cardiff, Ben? Like, at the start of the season, we thought they were going to find it difficult when the pitches got heavy and it got muddy, and maybe the team with more experience would maybe come and roll them over. But I think massive credit should go to Barry Murphy and his coaching staff for basically just keeping this group so level-headed. And I think in terms of what they have, in terms of ability-wise, the ability amongst the squad, natural, given flair ability, I think is way higher than every other team in the league. I think you could even add up 20 teams in this league and Cardiff would still have more natural ability compared to those 20 teams put together. I mean, you're talking about players in that team, Ben. Alex Robertson, who we've seen at this level take the mick with Portsmouth, Ollie Tanner, who, to be fair to him, was a very, very good, solid championship operator. But the real kick, jewel in the crown, Dylan Lawler. I mean, yes, it's an unbelievable run, right, from Dylan Lawler. Yeah, I love you, Treacle, by the way, Mr. Loudmouth. Big fan of you. Dylan Lawler. I'm a big fan of Dylan Lawler. I've said it all season. And what a run for a centre half. Yes, I know. I'm going to come on to it. I'm going to come on to it.
Brilliant, but sums up Doncaster.
Yeah, correct.
Brilliant
goal. Look, it is not easy for a centre half to run the length of the pitch and put the ball in the bottom corner. I am
every
not
week at 5-a-side, don't you? Prime athlete.
That's exactly what I do every week. But this is in a professional setting, right? Doncaster made it too easy. I mean, if Dylan Lawler, I put it on Twitter, Dylan Lawler tries that at the weekend, he's going to get snapped before he reaches the halfway line. So I wouldn't be doing that, Dylan, at the weekend. Unless you want to come out injured. A great performance. They were professional. They were effective. They play with a little bit of flair, don't they? If it's not Tanner popping up, it's Joel Colwell. It's not him. It's Ruben Colwell. If it's not, it's Ashford. And then you're bringing on Robinson off the bench, Capaccio, Willock. It's a ridiculous sort of squad that they have on paper. But the real glue of this team, I think, Ben, and one player that I don't think will get the credit he deserves is Ryan Wintle, because he has been so effective and so instrumental to what they do in terms of he is the only holding midfielder that they use, and he basically just sits in the front of that back four and dictate. Don't put that comment from David up, mate. You don't need to do that.
I'm not seeing it.
He's trying to get a nibble. Look, bless him. He will maybe argue that was a nibble within itself.
What's beginner? I don't play beginner.
No,
definitely didn't lose with Liverpool against Morecambe.
Yeah, you play on a setting called amateur, Ben. I've heard. But yeah, no, it was ironically, which is what your football club are. Ryan Wintle, is a massive player for them, and it does such an underrated job. I mean, I was watching. I was watching. That guy Zach from YouTube. He did he does the 20 versus 1. You've seen these before, where he gets one person and 20 different content creators, and they argue about things. And he had John Terry on.
Yeah.
And he spoke about how central midfielders or holding midfielders do not get the plaudits in which they deserve. And Ryan Wintle, I think, you take Ryan Wintle out of this Cardiff team, Cardiff are nowhere near the side that they are, where they are currently are. So, another great win for them on the road, like you say, best away form in the league. Yes, they played one more than what we have, but they're just a special team, this Cardiff team, and they will be getting promoted back to the Championship, no doubt. This
team, everything that's been thrown at them, they've come back, and they've had 4 or 5 bumps, really. You think about it, where they lost. They lost, I think, people in the FA Cup, lost away at Blackpool, lost at home to Bradford, lost at home to Burton, they lost away at Lincoln. And then since they've went on that really like 11 or 12 game unbeaten run, they've dropped points where maybe they shouldn't have done. They've not played as well in some games, but I think they've got better as the season's gone on. And I think you could get at them more early in the season. And as it's gone on, it's become harder for them to play against. I think they just wear you out, they just pass you side to side, even on these difficult pitches. And you mentioned Wintle there, the boy. I think these holding midfielders or these more defensive-minded midfielders that allow others to go and play, your Coles, your Robertsons of this world, the likes of Robinsons in forward areas as well, that can go and change the game. Without a spine, you don't really have anything to go with. And if you were to have a butty, you have a bacon butty. The bacon's the best thing in the thingy. That's what you're there for. But without the bread, the bacon's not as good. And you need the bread to fill it all together and make it special. And this is what these holding midfielders, these players in League One, week in, week out, they'll win your tackles, win your duels, play forward, play simple passes, just do the simple things so well, but have a bit of X factor about you. And I think Wintle has that. And Cardiff have been brilliant as the season's gone on. And ultimately, for me, if they go and win the league, I think it'll be deserved. If they finish second, it'll be deserved. And they've not won it because Lincoln City over a 46-game season are better than them, in my opinion. And I think that game next week decides the title, if I'm honest with you. But to win 22 games out of 34 is extraordinary. To score 68 goals is extraordinary. And the way they've come down, they've reset as a football club. Ashford signed a new contract. There's a lot of... I think they've hit a bit of a lull, Cardiff. I think that what had happened is the fans were fed up. They were never going anywhere. They'd had a couple of years in the Premier League across different years, come down, and they probably bottom 6, bottom 8, and a bit like Birmingham, a bit like Sunderland. They did Ipswich with the Ipswich. Obviously, Sunderland were there for 1 year. Ipswich were there for a long time. Birmingham were there for a long time. I think you're now going to see Blackburn eventually do it. I think eventually you'll see potentially Portsmouth in a couple of years that they've peaked above the drop, then come down.
Dan Richardson's watching.
No, I don't want that to happen. But ultimately, it happens. You wait your turn, and you come down, and you eventually your luck runs out a little bit. You come down, and you just reset as a football club. You win games of football. You play different teams. You're to different ground. That's what's happened to Cardiff. Sometimes, only if you are able to get back up within a couple of years. Huddersfield fans are struggling now. Yes, they're in the playoffs, but we'll come to them in a minute. Nowhere near it. And that Cardiff have just been a breath of fresh air. Moving on to our third game. Blackpool fans are very unhappy about this one. Not quite happy with the sights that they saw. Well, not surprising because if they saw Lincoln Cathedral, what more could they want? Right.
I completely agree.
For the day. I saw a cathedral this weekend.
Wasn't quite, but it wasn't once the tallest building in the world, was it?
Yeah, but it was nicer.
Disagree.
Of course
You wait, mate, till a couple of Saturdays when we get to go and we get to go and light the candle, go and have a coffee, light the candle in the cathedral, and get sausage butty on the way to the gate. You wait. Trust me.
Sounds good. Now, before we head to the Lincoln fan, Jake, what did you think of the game, mate?
I'm being set up here.
No, do you not get the joke? Before we get to the Lincoln fan, what did
you
think of the game? Then we'll come back to the Lincoln fan.
Right.
Oh my God, this guy.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Can we touch on Blackpool first? Because as much as I want to give Lincoln a good old glazing because they were phenomenal. Yeah, let's talk about Blackpool because I know they're one of your favourite topics of conversation. I thought, to be honest, Ben, I've spoken to Rob Walker, who the guy we had on our podcast, our excellent Here for the Lincoln podcast. If you don't know it, check it out. And he basically was disappointed with the reaction, the capitulation after the second goal, and I completely understand that. But I watched Ian Everett's post-match, and as much as I thought he was deluded, I could kind of understand what he was saying in terms of he used the phrase dominant and in control, which was a complete load of rubbish. But I kind of got what he meant in terms of Blackpool were in the game for a long period of time. And in their credit, they did cause us a couple of problems. Ashley Fletcher, admittedly caught one on the halfway line, but Niall Ennis should have scored that opportunity. They had a couple of half moments, Tom blocks them, and they played the ball. This is the thing with Blackpool, right? Front 2/3, I think Blackpool are a good side. They moved the ball around really nicely. They got good operators. George Honeyman, I thought, was decent. Ashley Fletcher, I thought, was a real presence. That back three yesterday were absolutely horrific.
Yeah. Yeah. I keep thinking Blackpool will sort themselves out, but they don't. They're in a relegation battle, aren't they?
Right, they might go down, mate.
I think they will.
The thing with Blackpool is, Ben, they've got the teams down the bottom. They've got them all at home. Like they've got Donny at home. They've got Rotherham at home. They've got Northampton, Wigan.
They beat Doncaster at home. We've got Wigan to come.
They've got a lot of games. The teams down the bottom at home to play.
Yeah, exactly. But on Blackpool, they've won 2 of the last 11, and they've been flat all year. And
correct.
Ultimately, you look through the squad, and I don't see it. And the recruitment was okay in the summer, but 3 or 4 bodies short. You take Fletcher out of that team, who's creating your stuff? Bowler's like Bale going back to Spurs. It just fits the vibe. It's not quite been at it. He's electrifying on his day, and he looks good. But ultimately, he's not the same player. He wants what you want him to be, and they think he is, but he's not. He's just not. Niall Ennis is not the player he was of 12 months ago. He had a chance, should have scored it. I'm looking at the bench, Randall, Clarkson. There's options on that bench. Honeyman's a good player on his day. There's too many on the days and stalwarts of that side and egos in that side. And I look through Rotherham and I look through Mansfield, through Wimbledon, of the teams above them. They've got a bit more character about them. I just feel like Blackpool, they're just flat to deceive, and they just think there's something. They really do, and they're not. Yeah, that's all. I don't want to get myself into any trouble because ultimately I could dig in on them all day, but I'm not going to. For context, I want Blackpool to stay in the division. I'd like to play them next season, but ultimately they're nowhere near the standard, and things need to be reset at that football club. I think Everett needs to take some responsibility as well, because he's putting a system that, yes, now they've got players to play it, but I think there needs to be a plan B, and that's stubborn Ian Everett. It's coming out again. That's all I'll say. Come back to Lincoln now. They played 33 games this season, in 34 games now in Sky Bet League One. They scored first in 24 of them. 24 games they scored first in this season, which is unbelievable. They've won 19. They've drawn 5. They've not lost a game when they scored first. And You go through Lincoln's season, you go through September and October, you go through those games, even August. It's just the same as it is now. But now they're winning on a consistent basis. They might have early got the times of the goals, what was happening in the games, how they were getting through the games. They'd had a few more bumps, don't get me wrong. But ultimately, if you go through the Luton game, the Plymouth game, the Reading game, those early games, Peterborough away, there were signs of this Lincoln team ready to explode. But what it was like a dog in a cage, ready to be released. And now that dog is on the charge. And Lincoln score goals of football at important times. They're effective, and this has been coming. You look at it, and it was the inevitable of it to come.
It was inevitable.
Yeah, the record conceding, but ultimately, if you score first in games, 75% of the time you get a positive result, whether that's a win or a draw. And when they've not scored first, to be fair to them, winning 2, drawing 2, lost 5 isn't that bad. The 5 losses came early in the season. 2 wins have come this calendar year against Peterborough and Plymouth, which I think a look at wins. They've had some big ones, especially at home, scoring first. Those 2 wins, you look at it, were important times. Peterborough, I think was it New Year's, just after New Year's. That was a big win. Now they weren't good first; they were honking first half an hour, and then Lionel got injured. And Scabala was touching on this in the fans. I was watching the fans forum. I don't help myself.
Are you sure you weren't there, Ben? Because it feels like you might have been.
I don't help myself, do I? And then I was watching in-depth analysis on it as well. And the Plymouth won 4-1 away. Difficult plays, awkward, 1-0 down. Side getting better to go and win. 17 games unbeaten now. 19 games unbeaten in League 2 in the season. You got promoted. Obviously, it was the longest streak you've had. So this is your 3rd longest, isn't it now? No team at home have got more points than Lincoln, 43. And I was actually going through the sides that won the league. Well, not won the league, but had the most points in their league at the time in League One. Portsmouth had 42 from 18. Peterborough had 50 from 40 from 23. Wednesday 53, which was unbelievable, by the way. These are at 69 points now. Plymouth 61, Burton 50, Bolton 50, Birmingham 61, and Lincoln and Cardiff tied on 43. I think this Lincoln team can go and get 55, minimum 56 maybe, and that gets you up for me. This side are explosive, they're quick, they're on the front foot, they keep clean sheets, and they're a nightmare to play against. They know what they are, and ultimately another nice day at the office at Cindybank.
Yeah, it was. And this is a game where I think Michael has to take a huge amount of credit from the subs that he brought on, completely changed the game and took it out of Blackpool's control. Jack Moylan went off injured at 1-0 about 5 minutes into the second half. He's got a dead leg. Hopefully, nothing too serious, and we should see him play away at Cardiff on the weekend. And he brought Dom Jeffries on. And now a lot of people at the time when Dom Jeffries came on at that juncture of the game, we're only 1-0 up. People are thinking, oh, God, Michael's sitting back on this and we're going to try and defend a 1-0 lead again. That's a worry. But to his absolute credit, and Sue will tell you, I am the founding member of the Dom Jeffries Supporters Association. I'm such a big fan of Dom.
He's that player, he gives me the impression, 7 out of 10 every week, runs his heart out,
no matter where he plays. No matter where he plays.
You know something? I'll be honest with you. In the last 5 years at Fleetwood, I'm going to make it about Fleetwood again. One of my favourite players about Fleetwood was Carl Johnson. Is Carl Johnson the best? No. Was he the biggest? No. Was he the quickest? Was he the best? He was bang. No offense to Carl Johnson here. He was average, right? But he was 7 out of 10 every week. He played left back, left centre half, right back, full wing back, midfield, and wherever you put that lad, he gave you. And I love CJ so because I was like you with Tom Jeffries. I was just love CJ, and when we lost him, I thought we lost heart. And you need players like Dom Jeffries in your team that aren't in your first team every week, but you can put in, and you know you're going to get an aggressive, performance.
Yeah, and he came on that left-hand side. Ben House went in and played in the number 10. And Dom Jeffries completely changed the game, to his massive credit. I mean, the second goal, he forces the throw-in which I think it's Rural Walters throws it straight back to Fraser Horsfall, and credit to Rob Street. He's on his toes, he's aware, he's alert. And one thing that actually goes unnoticed is Rob Street is in a bit of form. I think he scored in 4 of our last 5 games. He scored.
I mean, the goal's comical. The goal is comical.
The goal is comical, but still, you've got to take.
No, 100%. Apple strikers do, but Cardiff scored a similar one, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, you've got to be there. You've got to pounce on it. The second goal, Dom Jeffries, great work down the left-hand side. He plays it to Adam Reach. It's very similar to the goal that we scored against Bolton, actually, where it's basically crossed to the edge of the box. One man sets it up. Dom Jeffries, it's a great finish. And the fourth goal is all about Dom Jeffries picking the ball up left-hand side of the pitch, nutmegs a defender, and then plays it through to Ryan One, who I've seen a lot of good players in the Lincoln shirt, Ben. I've seen Brendan Johnson. I've seen Morgan Rogers. Morgan Rogers, probably one of the best players in the Premier League this year in a Lincoln shirt. Ryan One has that potential, genuinely. And when we signed him, I know Cole from the Fan Zone podcast, he spoke to me about him. Charlie is a massive advocate of him. Ryan One is going to be such an effective player in the future. He's 19. He's big. He's quick. He's strong. And he can finish on both feet. No matter the situation in the penalty area, Ryan One scores. I think it's a goal every 46 minutes since he's signed. It's 3 goals in 5 games. He's only started one of those games, by the way. So it's a little bit skewed. But again, his finish, absolutely outstanding. And this is what I like. You know, Ryan One comes on and changes the game. And having him as part of the team just allows us to change the game no matter what we want to do. But one player that doesn't get the plaudits because he hasn't scored yet, Alfie Lloyd. Like every time I've seen Alfie Lloyd, you know, when we signed him, people were like, "Oh, you know, he's not really played for Leyton Orient. He's not really." And this is the whole perception, right, where a player in a certain environment can just work. And Alfie Lloyd has come here to work, no doubt about it. He is committed every day. And I feel like when you see teams get promoted, Ben, you've always got that one guy who maybe doesn't get the minutes on the pitch that his ability warrants, because Alfie Lloyd is a very good footballer. He's on a long-term contract at QPR, a championship club with aspirations of getting back to the Premier League. He's played a number of games for their first team. And, you know, he's clearly highly rated. He just brings the vibes. He just brings the goodwill. I imagine Monday to Friday, like, even though he knows he's not going to play on the Saturday, he knows he's maybe only going to get 5-10 minutes at the end of the game, but he realises he's as important as the player that started because he has to play a role in us closing out the game. Same as Riley Towler, right? Riley Towler on his own is probably a leading League One centre-half in terms of ability. On the ball, brilliant, left-sided, 23, lots of appearances in the Championship and in League One. He's won League One already once. You know, he had interest from Luton and Huddersfield this year.
Pompey won the league.
Pompey won the league, yeah.
Tom told me.
I had a lovely hour phone conversation with Dan Richardson and Helen, where Dan get this, nappers, Dan recited every single result correctly of the 1990 World Cup. Every single correct result, goal scorers, whatever, exactly where it was. So fair play to Dan and Hells Bells and Faith, who I know will be tuning in tonight because Pompey got them upset on Saturday, and we don't like to hear that made too much of a habit. But yeah, Riley Towler comes on and changes the game, and this is what this Lincoln team have in abundance: character, will, determination, experience. We're going into the unknown, admittedly, but it doesn't scare anybody. Everyone wants to get there. Everyone knows they have to pull in the same direction. And we're now 17 games unbeaten. We're going to Cardiff on Saturday. We've got 3,000 fans going to Cardiff on Saturday for an early kickoff, which is outstanding. I won't have any of this. I won't have any people taking the mick because that is unbelievable support. And I can't wait. It's a massive game. Does it determine our season if we lose away at Cardiff? No, it doesn't. We've got 11 games to get promoted. Doesn't matter. If we lose against Cardiff, doesn't matter. I'm not bothered if we lose against Cardiff. But it's been one hell of a season. And this, I said this to someone the other day. I just have so much, I said it to Gab, I've got so much confidence in this group that they go and get promoted. And I just think this group is so good that they can just take it out of Bolton's hands, out of Stockport's hands, out of Bradford's hands, maybe even out of Cardiff's hands. That's how good this group can be.
Do you know something, right? I'm a big believer. And I think these things weird times. And I was thinking on the way to the airport this morning, I was going, right, thinking you plan certain stuff, write certain stuff, say certain stuff, little things I can say at certain times. Can I do this here? Can I do this here? And think, well, what can I say about this team right now? I thought about Lincoln. I thought, right, I'll touch on the unbeaten run. Obviously, it's the obvious thing, isn't it? And every team is looking for momentum. Getting momentum is very difficult. Once you get momentum, and I'm talking this is 6, 7, 8, 9 games here, you can get any team can go 4 or 5 games undefeated in a season. I'd say maybe 60% of teams will do that. Any mid-table team can go. They can draw 3, win 1. The teams that are good are the teams that go on runs in a season or consistently are brilliant. Once you run a run and you hit 10 games, I think it's not taking nothing away from Lincoln because how good they've been. It becomes easier because you're on a run. It's just routine next, and you build belief. But once you've not got it and you're finding it, it's hard. And you've just got to find something, tune it, and then you know what works. And what's good about it, Lincoln are just recycling games. They are similar. They won back-to-back games at home 4-0 in similar fashions, similar goal times, similar the way they play. They don't change for anyone, and it's effective. And I made it on this slightly not out of Scabala needs to leave, blah, blah, blah. Concentrate on yourselves. Let Lincoln get on with it. Lincoln are the best run football club in this league, in my opinion. Certainly up there for the best run in the EFL because pound for pound the way they do it. We will move on, but I mean this. I'm so happy to hear the way Jake's talking, and I can see what it means to him. And I'd love to be there on the day that, if it does happen,
you will be.
If it was to happen, obviously I'm not going to count the chickens yet, but it does honestly mean a lot to me for what's happening to Jake and all the Lincoln fans because generally they've been brilliant. 100 days undefeated, most clean sheets in the league, and ultimately I know you've wanted this all your life, and you could be playing little old top next year. Yeah, who are they? Yeah,
Imagine they win the Champions League and then they come to Lincoln on the first game of the season.
Real Madrid away on a Wednesday night, Lincoln away on a Saturday.
Tough fixture that.
Be brilliant. Be absolutely brilliant. If you haven't already, please drop us a like. Please subscribe. That'd be much appreciated. We are on the march to 19,000 subscribers. Next up, Wycombe 3, Burton 0. Well, Wycombe were struggling underdogs, weren't they? 1 win in the first day. They were 19th at the time. And their only win came against Mansfield at that time. They'd lost to Stockport, lost to Bradford, lost away at Stevenage, which was the end of it. Peterborough was a pretty bad result, wasn't it? That was, I think Stevenage and Peterborough needs to go at this point. Since then, Michael Duff's come in, been more organised. There's been much more of a clearer, simpler way of playing. And ultimately, they've got 45 points from a possible 26 games, which would have them 5th. And their record since he's come in against the sides at the bottom, they drew 0-0 away at Port Vale. They've beaten Doncaster, Wigan, Northampton, Leyton, Orient. Northampton and Wigan, they've done the double over. They've got points away at Barnsley, a point at home against Barnsley, a point away at Rotherham, beat Wimbledon, and then beat Stevenage, beat Burton Albion as well. And, good record over Lincoln, good record over Cardiff. They've been brilliant. And it was just another simple home win. And it was a simple Gareth Ainsworth type of win the other day. 3-0 at home. Wasn't pretty all the time. Mad few minutes, won it for Wycombe ultimately. And it was a big win for them because Burton are no mugs. Burton can upset you and Burton can take points off you. They're no mugs. Wycombe are 2 points off the playoffs with a game in hand and are in better form than Huddersfield. Stevenage are up there. Reading are up there. Those 3 clubs charging into the pack. Luton and Huddersfield feel the 2 clubs are in good positions right now, but don't feel they're going to take it. You even feel Peterborough, Plymouth and Barnsley, the teams below them, have got a better chance of getting in. It was a big win for the Chairboys, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It maybe wasn't. I know it looks plain sailing on paper. I think certainly the first half, all that really separated the two teams was an absolute worldie of a strike from Colin Boyd Muntz. Lovely off his left foot, but Wycombe only had 2 shots in that first half, Ben. So I think the first half was very tight, very cagey. Burton had a couple of opportunities themselves, and then what really cost Burton, despite being 1-0 down, was a calamitous sort of 70 seconds or so where the second goal, a calamity, to any Wigan fans joining. Obviously, we have to talk the local language, don't we? Luke Harris's goal is a bit of a comedy of errors. I mean, the way that he hits it hits it into the ground, and then Brad Collins has got it in front of him, and he just lets it drop through his hands. That feels a little bit. It sort of summed up their afternoon. I mean, I'm pretty sure Burton have got a really horrific record away at Wycombe Wanderers. I think they've not scored there since a 5-0 win in the EFL Trophy or the EFL Cup. I can't remember, but they've not scored at Adams Park for a very long time now. And then from the kickoff, they give the ball away really cheaply. The ball's hoofed up, and I think it's Van Kooten that it might have been that let the ball bounce, and Nathan Lowe. We know Nathan Lowe can score goals. We saw it for Walsall last season. We saw it to an extent at Stockport. Didn't quite work out for him. But it's a great finish. And at 3-0, game over, and it's the points wrapped up. But yeah, credit to Wycombe for winning the game. Obviously, no one really remembers the performance. You can play as well as you want, and if you lose, people will just remember the fact that you've lost rather than they've won. They didn't play well, but they still won by 3 clear goals against the Burton team. This is a Burton team, Ben, who I saw on Tuesday night were quite impressive against Stockport County, a team that are above Wycombe in the table at this particular minute in time.
Any good performances on that pitch?
Yeah, there was definitely one in there somewhere. Certainly in the half-time interval. I'm sure you've all seen the video now of me slipping on my backside. But yeah, Duff's come in, made them. They do the basics really well. Wycombe, don't they? They have the dark arts a little bit. Will Norris went down a couple of times, feigning injury. But they're in a great position. When Dodds was sacked, if you'd have said Wycombe would be 2 points off the playoffs with a game in hand, you probably would have laughed at them. But they were, I've said it all season. I've said it certainly the last couple of weeks. Huddersfield, for me, are not the bar in terms of that 6th spot at this particular minute in time, purely because they've played more games than everyone. Reading have got a game in hand or a point behind them. Stevenage are a point behind them, 2 games. Wycombe can overtake them. Luton, I think, can get within 2 points of them. So they're not really the bar for me. But Michael Duff's got a bit of a he's doing a good job, isn't he? They're looking in a good spot. Burton, I mean, to be fair, I think this week they've got more points than maybe what they would have anticipated. Stockport at home and Wycombe away.
4 points for those 3.
Yeah, I think it's a good return, including the Luton game, obviously, whether they went away and got a point. They're up to 39 points now. Yeah, they're only 3 points above the drop. They've got that massive game with Exeter. If they beat Exeter tomorrow night, they can leapfrog Exeter and really stick themselves at the top of that. I know I watched your TikTok earlier where you spoke about really how we think it's probably Exeter and down that are really need to be concerned. Wimbledon, we trust to get the points to stay up, even though they're only 7 points clear. But it's a pretty big gap at this point of the season. But Burton can put themselves at the top of that bracket. They'll be backing themselves, and they've got Charlie Webster to come into the team. With Tyrese Shade and XGs, they're always going to have goals in the team. It's going the other way that I worry about Burton a little bit defensively. They've conceded more goals than 3 of the bottom 4 presently, 49 compared to Northampton and Rotherham 47, Port Vale 44. So that's a little bit of a concern for me. Yes, Doncaster and Blackpool have conceded more, as have Barnsley, by the way, and Plymouth. And as many as Peterborough.
Barnsley, 2nd most defence in the league.
Yeah, so it's a slight concern, really. That I know I've had a go at them not scoring enough goals, but now they seem to be shipping them in for like no end. So yeah, it was a massive result for Wycombe. For Burton, like I say, Exeter is a massive game for them. They've got a couple. I think they've got Exeter tomorrow, Stevenage at home on Saturday. Go get 4 points from those games, get yourself up onto 43 points. You're then only talking 10 points from 10 games to get yourself safe. So big week, I think, for Burton season, this one.
Absolutely so. Leyton only 1, Barnsley 3, Orient trouble. I've seen a lot of different opinions online about Richie Wellens. What he's done for that football club is remarkable, and I've always said it, even when they were doing well, and you can back me up here, Jake, about there's just a tendency there with Richie Wellens. When it goes well, he's brilliant. But when you're not getting the results, I think he can lose a dressing room and lose a player because the way he's brutal with you. He says it how it is, and he doesn't sugarcoat it. And he's just a typical guy. You know what I mean? His heart's on his sleeve. But ultimately, they've been poor for a long time now. No team have conceded more goals than them. 56. Leyton Orient, poor defensively. They've never always been the greatest, but under Richie Wellens in League One, they feel they could keep a clean sheet. You know, they've now lost 3 home games on the spin. Well, that's unprecedented. They've not done that for 4 years. The standards have been kept so high now that they've come low a little bit and they're having their drop-off season, their 4th season in League One. You get a little bit ridiculed and maybe creatures of their own success, how well they've done over the last 3 years with recruitment and the way they've been building. And anything less than a top 12 finish this year would have been deemed maybe as a bit of a failure because you've not kicked on from last year. But since they beat Burton Albion away from home, they've played 15 games and they've won 3, they've drawn 3, and they've lost 9, which is really, really not great, is it? They were all right up until that point, I thought. The way they're conceding goals, the way they're not settled, this group doesn't inspire me. I'm a big believer I was an Orient fan, I'd rather have Richie Wellens in that squad. But ultimately, things do come to an end. I think Richie Wellens has, for the last maybe 6 to 12 months, thought he wants championship football. In his head, he maybe doesn't have the same drive anymore. He's maybe a bit fed up. And just the little things on the pitch, not clapping supporters, nasty in interviews, snapping. There's little signs there that there might be something about to turn. We'll get on to Barnsley in a minute.
Yeah, it feels like that chance that they had last season to get themselves promoted, and it really felt like Orient kind of had to win to keep Richie Wellens. Obviously, not winning that playoff final against Charlton has been a massive. Yeah, you said it in your TikTok, Ben, about how clubs get to that stage and then have a hangover the next season. But from recollection, I don't think the teams that you mentioned, I think it was Shrewsbury, Lincoln, and Fleetwood, didn't quite have as bad a next season as what Orient are having at this minute in time. Maybe it does.
Fleetwood did.
Did you get relegated?
Fleetwood were in the bottom 4 at the end of February.
It feels a little bit.
The manager, 13 games to go, won 7 of them and stayed up under Sheridan. Actually,
it feels a little bit like with Leyton on it. Yeah, like Richie Wellens kind of feels like he doesn't want to be there. But then again, like he's got them into this mess in terms of the recruitment that he's made. You know, his coaching. I feel like maybe he's trying to put too big an idea that the players aren't capable of playing. In terms, like he's trying to play a certain style of football that this group can't play, and he doesn't have any way of adapting.
Have you noticed something with him as well recently? That how often he talks about supporters, and he knows his way out. When you use the press and you do certain videos, or you do as a manager, you are wary of what you say, and you try and say stuff sometimes to appease people. You do. I've been guilty of that over the time. Really, I've maybe said things I've not meant. But I just think the way he talks about the sport, and I think that he can try and suck them in a little bit, the way he speaks, and he wants them on side, obviously. But ultimately, I just feel like when it goes well, he takes it. When it doesn't go well, he can't take the criticism.
Yeah, I kind of understand where you're coming from with that. But what it has led to is just the team defensively are shambolic. Just even last year, they were really entertaining, weren't they? They scored a load of goals, but you still felt like you could get at Leyton Orient and get in behind them and really cause them issues. I mean, we went there and lost 3-2 in a bit of a real end-to-end game. But because they were so good going forward late in Orient last year with Donnelly and Charlie Kelman and Ollie O'Neill, whatever, they would often win these basketball types of games, whereas this year they've got Don Ballard. They're not quite winning those games of football, basketball games of football that they're now involved in. And I thought Saturday was a little bit like that. I mean, massive credit to David McGoldrick. He was outstanding, wasn't he? A fantastic individual performance. But the goals from Leyton Orient were just a little bit comical, aren't they? The way that some of them fall, like David McGoldrick's free at the back post, he's able to rush stroll past 2 or 3 and tuck it in as well. So, yeah, I don't know with Leyton Orient. I feel like they've got a real good chance of getting relegated at this minute in time. And obviously, if they do, Richie Wellens isn't going to be getting a championship job anytime soon.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I just think that with them, they are very reliant on Ballard. And other than that, there's no real standouts, is it? You know, like, you look at teams that have a good core. Leyton Orient with that last year. I think Lincoln are that this year. I think that you could name Lincoln starting 11, personally. Cardiff, you can get 8 or 9 players. The successful team, you can name players. Teams down there, you can't. Injuries don't help, of course, but ultimately, Leyton Orient look far off it. And I don't like messy sides that could see 2s and 3s every week, and Leyton Orient at that. But David McGoldrick, the age of nearly 39, oldest player to score a league hat-trick in the English top 4 tiers since Jamie Curitan for Dagenham and Redbridge against AFC Wimbledon 2015. Did see rolling back the years. He scored 6 goals this month, which is unbelievable to the boy. Still in a playoff race. They've got games in hand. Their next 3 are at Oakwell, where they struggled. It's not even like it's home. Got 1 clean sheet there. I think they've got Cardiff there as well coming. I think they need 7 out of those 3, maybe 6, an absolute push. Then we'll start talking. Until then, not in my equation of a playoff team, because they're too inconsistent. They can blow hot, they can blow cold. Stevenage 2, Stockport 1. 4 on the bounce for Stevenage now at home in League One. Lost the last 6 on the road. So it's really is a version of, 2 different things, really. Big win for them against a rival, you could call them now. Stockport haven't had the best of times recently. They've lost the last 3 away from home, and now lost 10 games this season. They only lost 9 in the whole of last season. I don't think they've been anywhere near the level of last season. I think they look easier to get at. They don't look as convincing. I don't think they look as strong. I don't think they look as organised. I don't think they look as at it. They've won games off instincts, I think, and moments, late drama. They're still a good team. I think they'll still be in there come the end of the season, but I don't trust them as much. There's something about them this season where they're a bit more on vibes and they brought players back. I think that's disrupted them a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. And again, Saturday, so used to saying yesterday on these shows, even though they took the lead, it never really felt convincing. And I watched them on Tuesday and they were really poor against admittedly a Burton team that probably really showed up on Tuesday night. But individual mistakes, they were getting at one another. I mean, the 3rd goal on Tuesday night was absolutely comical. And what I don't think helps is that Dave Challoner is quite bullish in the press in terms of, like, he will call out mistakes and he will just make changes if a player makes a mistake. And I think sometimes that can knock the confidence of players, and that has I feel like that's had a bit of an effect on the Stockport team this season. I mean, Alafe's come back, not been on fire whatsoever. He's straight out of the team rather than persevering, whereas maybe at a Lincoln or a Cardiff or a Bolton, maybe persevere with a player a little bit and get them build, break them in, a bit like what they have with Rob Apter, Johnny Kenny, Lincoln have done maybe with Ryan Owney, etc. With Dave Challoner, if you make a mistake, you straight out of the team. I mean, Lewis Bate, straight out of the team from Tuesday night. Ben Hinchliffe, straight out of the team from Tuesday night as well, because they made mistakes. And again, Saturday, they got themselves in front, but they never really felt convincing. And Stevenage, to their credit, what's that now? 4 home wins on the bounce. Peterborough, Port Vale, Huddersfield, and now
all by odd goals.
Stockport,
2 1s as well.
Yeah, 9 wins at home. They're getting stronger, aren't they? And they're definitely.
I think they won the first. Didn't they win the first 5 and didn't win for ages? And now they've won. So they are a momentum side, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course they are.
be fair, we must congratulate them that they've
won the playoffs, mate.
Yeah.
If you believe somebody.
Farley, yeah. You know something? I find it so hard to dig back at him. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, like when you're having a little like niggle. I don't like doing it. I like doing it to you. I like doing it to Dave. I don't like doing it to Farley. Because I'm like, you just Farley. He's lovely, isn't he? I'm like,
yeah, he is. But you know, this 3-5-2 shape that Stevenage are operating with just seems to work for them, doesn't it? You know, you get natural wing backs in Patterson and early high up the pitch. You get Matt Phillips, most importantly, allowing Big Goal really to thrive. Really, I think obviously those two linking up for that goal as well. Harvey White is so influential in midfield. Louis Thompson and Dan Phillips create good foils for him to get that little bit of extra space to add that quality pass into the final third. And you know, you saw that with the corner, the cross into the box. Sorry for Piergiani's goal. So yeah, a big win for them because that's now the double done over Stockport. I know Farley's calling that a season defining win, and I kind of understand where he's coming. I think I understand where he's coming from because it now takes them. You know, Ben, they're only 5 points behind Stockport with a game in hand, and we're talking about Stockport as a team that their automatic chances are very much over, but they certainly feel like a cert for the playoffs, right? Stockport County. So this Stevenage team, they've got a real good opportunity to do something really special this year. They're a little bit like to me though. They're a little bit like Huddersfield. In fact, that they've lost double figures. To be fair, Bradford lost double figures. So has Stockport, and so Huddersfield. It feels like there's two unbelievable teams, a half decent team in Bolton, and then the rest are just a little bit. There's
2 9s. There's a 2 9, 9.5. There's an 8/8.5, and there's quite a load of 7s.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of 6s. I think a lot of teams have been like 6 out of 10 this year.
Then you've got yourself. That's a 2, 3.
Thanks, mate. That's gonna be
on Stevenage, though, right? I will say, 14 wins is great. Their away form needs to improve. They can't just win the games of football at home. They've got to win games of football now away from home. And let's say if they get 70 points this year and miss out on the playoffs, that's an unbelievable season. Yes, they started well and it's faded and not got into the playoffs. But 70 points for Stevenage in League One. Like, we're banging the drum about Exeter, how poor they've been for how Stevenage have not had a bad season in League One yet. They've been here 3 years. They finished just outside the playoffs in year 1. Year 2, they dropped. They didn't score enough goals, but they didn't concede enough. I think they scored as many as they conceded, basically. There or thereabouts. It looked a little bit flat, blunt. But they had a new manager, young manager in place, low budget still, kept the core of the team. And with Stevenage, they are organised and they are everything you want the side to be. You can pretty much name the team, pretty much. They're not great to watch, let's be honest about it. But ultimately, who cares about being great to watch if you can win games of football? When you're going on little runs without wins, which the way that Revell played, the way that most managers in these leagues play, you will go on spells and bumps that you don't win for 6 or 7, 8 games. The owners, unfortunately, don't stay patient. And I'm glad that Stevenage stayed patient by the man because could easily had a look. Yes, he's on a long-term contract. It would never have been feasible. But I think there's too much sacking culture these days. I think you're looking at Igor Tudor at Tottenham. 2 games, he's in trouble. It's like, come on, right, okay. But that's a massive win for Stevenage because teams above them will really start feeling the pressure that Bradford have been there all season. Yes, Stevenage were there for most of it and then have dropped out and now are chasing again. But it's easier to be chasing than it is to be chased because you feel pressure on whatever you do. And that's where I respect the top 2 for holding the nerve. Stevenage are a better side than Huddersfield right now. Reading are hit and miss, but you look at the defensive, they've only conceded 35 goals, right? Only Lincoln on 31, who have got this incredible defence, 4 less. Cardiff have conceded 1 more than them. Bradford 3 more than them. The defence is really good and one of the best in the division. Defenders win things, and Stevenage could just do that this year and get into the playoffs. Reading 2, Bradford 1. On Bradford first, we'll come to Reading. At home 3rd, 3 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. Away 13th, 4 wins, 5 draws, 7 losses. 2 totally different sides, and they're just too inconsistent. The last 18 games, Jake, they've won 10, they've drawn 8, which is good form. in that period, Lincoln have taken 40 odd points in that time when you look at it. They have taken 43 points, but ultimately they've drawn when they've not lost. Bradford lose or win, and ultimately, if you win more than you lose, you could get in the playoffs over 46 games over that. I think Bradford, what will happen is I think they'll get into the playoffs, lose in the semi-finals, and next season finish mid-table. That was my prediction right now, if you were to ask me, because I think the home form will dip, but not some way, but it'll come down maybe I think they might get 35 points at home next year.
Yeah,
away from home, you're struggling, aren't you? I think they'll finish mid-table. I think they'll be a bit better away next season because I think they'll learn, but I don't think they'll be as good over 46 games.
Yeah, I mean, they put themselves in a really good position in this game, didn't they, really? I mean, 1-0 up away at Reading, tough place to go. Pennington with a goal, it was a good strike from outside the penalty area. And it's just capitulation away from home. And it's the same old story for Bradford away from home, unfortunately. I mean, we spoke about them the other week, losing away at Wimbledon, didn't they? I think 9 times out of 10, Bradford at home to anyone in the league, you probably back them to get some form of result, whereas away from home, you'd be backing it with equally as much confidence that they wouldn't get a result on the road. So, yeah, that's a weird thing for Bradford. It's a little bit like their season, isn't it? Like, so strong in front of 20,000 people, but not in front of, maybe, what was it there the other day, like 13,000. It's a little bit of a weird one.
The biggest attendance in League One the other day, by the way.
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it? The biggest one, 13,000.
Shows you how far this... well done's Reading, by the way, but shows you how far this league has maybe dipped a little bit in the last few years.
Attendances wise, yeah, probably.
Yeah, well, when the big boys drop out, you do worry, and obviously they've been playing the Trading League 2 now for the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, you do worry for when the proper big clubs get out the top end of this division this season,
like Cardiff,
like Lincoln and Cardiff,
like Cardiff and Bolton. Yeah.
Mate, we're going to be talking about Bolton next season. I don't know why you don't want to.
We club statement.
Yeah, we.
Let me just say as well, Jake will not be on League One Live on Sunday. Now, I've got this horrible picture that Cardiff will beat you 3-0. First show. What?
I thought we were doing it next Monday.
Sunday. I texted you.
Yeah, but I'm not available. Oh, right. Okay.
Remember the texts now?
Yeah. You're doing it without me. Fair enough. Don't blame me. If we lose, just to let people know, if we lose and I'm not on, it's not because of that. It's because I'm going to be driving home.
You see it. Cardiff 5, Lincoln 0.
Yeah,
first week, your pals on.
I'm going to be driving home from Newcastle, just so people know if that will be the reason why I won't be on. And I can't join from my car because it would be dangerous, and I don't want to crash.
Can we just say, by the way, I'm so sorry. I've only just seen this. Thank you, Sue. My favourite.
What a woman.
So sorry, I've only just seen that. I do apologise. Love you lots. My favourite.
But yeah, massive props to Reading, right? I mean, they snatch victory from the hands from the jaws of defeat. Unbelievable character. I know they're maybe not pretty, they're maybe not fluid, they're not fantastic. But they get the job done under Liam Richardson. They're effective, essentially like what his Wigan athletic team were when they won the league a couple of years ago. Great. I'm not going to give any credit to the first goal scorer, but the second goal scorer, lots of credit should go his way. Matt Ritchie, great header, great ball from Charlie Savage, should turn the game around and really kickstart Reading's season again a little bit, because they're now just 1 point outside the playoffs with a game in hand. Like you say, they're unbeaten in 5. They've won 3 of those. They feel like they're in a really good spot at this minute in time.
Oh, yeah, you say, I mean, in 5, so I don't think re-kick it. But 36 points from 20 games is immaculate since he came in, 1.8 points a game. They do concede chances. That is their issue. They in a number of games this year, I feel, long term, I don't think you win that. And I think long term, in a year or so, these games will lose 2-1 or they'll draw 1-1 and it will fade. That is my issue. But ultimately, they've won 13. I think they've won 12 games since he's gone in there. So 10 wins, 6 draws, 4 defeats, which is remarkable, to be fair, and only a point outside the playoffs now at this moment in time, which is good. So yeah, Marriott not in the squad the other day is a bit of an injury.
Season, apparently.
Yeah, so that could be a concern, but in that way, because he's been the pivotal one for their goals and since the transformation, really. Wigan 1, Huddersfield 0. You said Huddersfield weren't the benchmark. Well, Wigan have now won back-to-back home games under Gary Colwell. The revolution is on. 6 points from the first 3 home games. They only took 6 points from their previous 12 games under the old management / interim ship, which started with a point, incidentally, away at Huddersfield Town. Big win for Wigan Athletic. Huddersfield, just 4 wins now in 12, 5 defeats in 2026. Since being in League One, 34 wins, 14 draws, 33 defeats. That's nowhere near good enough. You're looking at 116 points across 18 games. You're looking at just shy of 1.5 points a game. We should be about 11th in the table.
We know who loves 1.5 points a game, don't we, Ben?
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, no, this Wigan team are a little bit of a different animal, aren't they, under Gary Colwell? And I think we suspected this, Ben, didn't we? We sort of said that Gary Colwell would come in and be a real valid improvement. And I think we said it with chest that he'd keep Wigan Athletic up in terms of he's a great in terms of coming in and making a big impact, and I think he has done. Obviously, wins over Luton and Huddersfield, 2 teams that are both going for the top 6 at this minute in time, very loosely going for the top 6, but they're very much in and amongst it. A great win again. I thought they were brilliantly limited at a Huddersfield team, and this is a Wigan side, Ben, that were without their talisman, because I think Joe Taylor scored 6 of the last 7 goals that Wigan have scored before yesterday, Saturday. So I can imagine. Hey?
What did you just say about Joe Taylor?
I think he scored 6 of their last 7 goals.
That they what?
So they've scored. Oh,
Wigan have scored. Wigan have scored!
Can I just say, I told you to get that tattooed on you rather than. I
did get a tattoo, yes.
Yeah, than what you actually did.
You see it?
I've seen it, but let the people see it. Look.
I don't know how to.
There
you are.
Can you explain it?
Slow down, you're doing fine. One of the lines from one of my favourite songs, Billy Joel, Vienna. If you've never listened to it, first off, where have you been? Unbelievable. I was meant to go and see him last year, but he obviously cancelled. And hopefully he's all well and good. What you
should have got, Ben, is don't be upset about the things you can't control.
Yeah, I'd use that all the time. I use it on other people now.
Yeah, we love that one, don't we?
I am guilty of probably being a bit too much of a hectic, running around like an idiot. And I'll be honest with you, I've not been probably the wellest from doing that approach. But even with these shows, I maybe just need to just slow down, be fine, and it does help. So it's something that means a lot to me. So I just thought, why not?
Great win. Great win for Wigan. Gary Colwell doing the job. Huddersfield, pathetic, abject, lacking confidence. Honestly, I watched Sean Rowan's interview after the game. Not only did I laugh a little bit, but I also there's no character, or they've got the personality of a cardboard box. This Huddersfield team, it just feels like, I don't know. It felt maybe entitlement.
There's nothing about them. They're like, when they win, it's like only one, but you don't know. You don't think it's going to last, do you?
Yeah, no.
They're winning bursts, don't they?
Yeah, and Liam Manning came in and was the Messiah, and now all of a sudden can't get a tune out of these players. I think it's a squad issue rather than a management issue. Maybe even it goes higher than that in terms of ownership as well, because Huddersfield have been run like a shambles for the last sort of 3 or 4 years, and they've eventually been falling towards the trapdoor of League One. And now they're here without parachute payments like they were in the Championship. They're finding it incredibly difficult to get back to the level in which they were at. So, yeah, great win for Wigan. I'll have lots of big games coming up. Obviously, they go to Blackpool at the weekend, but they've got some really big games coming up against the teams down the bottom. And when they've got Joe Taylor in the team, they've got goals. You fancy Wigan Athletic to really get something.
Absolutely so. Moving on, Wigan, big result for them. Rotherham United 1-0 at home could be a staple for them. That's their 4th win of their 9 games. They've won 1-0. They've won a lot of games narrowly. And that's no slight. You need to do that when you are down there. Find a way to win. And I'm always a big believer, once you think Rotherham are drowning and they are under the sea, under everything, and they get 5-6 points adrift, you just got to win again to get one step closer to being safe. And they almost feel like you let go, and all of a sudden they just rise from the ashes and they get a hand on on an absent sailor that's trying to survive them and give them life again. And they've just got one hand on that at the moment, but it's slippy and they're fighting for every breath. But it's a big win. The home form is going to be pivotal. The away form has actually picked up a little bit as of late. A couple of recent results have not gone too badly. They went 9 games unbeaten, but massed by draws and lost the next 7. But then the next 10 games, so the next 8 games, they've been poor. They've still picked up 10 points. They've won 3 of them. And they've drawn 1, and they've lost the other 4 in a row. So you can just find a win in bad stages and just average over a point a game. You will stay there or thereabouts, in my opinion. And 34 points, 3 points adrift with a game in hand. Playing Mansfield tomorrow, which is a massive game. Massive. You'd feel they won that, they bring Mansfield well into it. After that, Huddersfield away, Bolton at home, Peterborough away, Rotherham, Lincoln away, Luton at home. They are tough games. You feel tomorrow is make or break.
Yeah, for Rotherham, it is massively, and that's a massive win, isn't it, for them in their quest to stay up? Because just as it looked like Matt Hamshaw was really struggling to get a kick out of this team, they come up and against the form, but massively, because Plymouth Argyle, I think, Ben, we both predicted to win this game quite comfortably. They turn up and fair play to them. It's difficult for Rotherham, isn't it? Because it does feel a little bit like the club are so far detached from the supporters because of the position of the head coach, and the recruitment maybe hasn't been as good as what it used to be when Rotherham at this level, and maybe the expectation is a little bit higher. I imagine a lot of Rotherham fans, since coming back to the league, probably expected they were going to be on the top 6 for both seasons, but here they are, currently second bottom in the league table at the beginning of March, having only won 9 games this year. But that game against Mansfield on Tuesday, Ben, absolutely mahoosed. They could half the gap to Mansfield, and that would be massive. Yes, that Mansfield will still have a game in hand, but teams down the bottom don't exactly make the most of these games in hand all the time. So it's not exactly a bad position to put yourself in. But
there's too much riding on game in hand, isn't there? Like you look at it and people go, "Well, we've got Barnsley are the worst. Port Vale have been telling me they've got 2 games." I just feel I just want everyone just to catch up now and push them, because I feel like the table's messy now, isn't it?
Yeah, Lionel. Yeah, the table's very Lionel.
He's a good player. I mean, I think he had posters of someone called Jack Moylan in his room.
Very good. Very good. I think you're right. Look, this win has massively propelled them. I know they lost 4 straight beforehand, but it gives them a little bit of confidence going into Mansfield, doesn't it? And, you're talking about other games. Huddersfield away, not on the best of form at the weekend. Can they upset the apple cart against Bolton next weekend? Well, that would be absolutely lovely. But, Peterborough away, Lincoln away, Luton at home. There's some games in there, Ben. I think April's their big month, isn't it? Where they play Stevenage at home, Port Vale away, Barnsley at home, Wigan away, Orient away, and Reading at home. That's the month that Rotherham will be looking at to really try and get those points on the board to try and secure safety. But a big win for Matt Hamshaw. So it's a big win for Matt Hamshaw. I think it's a bigger win for him than it is for Rotherham United on Saturday.
Massive win. Coming to 3 games now that ended in draws. Northampton, Peterborough, a bit of a feisty pair. Northampton got a decent record against Peterborough of late. And in this one, to be fair to them, they had chances. They didn't have a lot of possession, but they had chances. Tom Eaves getting another goal. Good for him. They like him scoring set pieces a lot lately, aren't they? But a big win for them against a Peterborough United side that just stay close to the playoffs. Both of these sides needed to win it, and there was an intensity there from both. It's a good point for Northampton, this, to be fair. It's one of those solid points.
Yeah, it is, but I think it definitely could have been more from a Northampton point of view. They had lots of really good chances in this game, and Peterborough, when they equalised, it felt like a little bit of a kick in the gonads, because it was only the real time that, the only time that Peterborough had a spell in the game. Lee Burr's not really tested too much otherwise. But we emphasised this week, Ben, for Northampton, it was a massive week. Orient at home, Port Vale at home, Peterborough at home, a real opportunity to go and get 5, 6, 7 points on the league table and really assert yourself in this bottom 4 relegation scrap and try and put yourself out of it as much as you can, or at least drag other teams in. And they've really failed to capitalise. 1 point from the 3 games is a really poor return. I think there are positives, like you say. Tom Eaves scoring again; he's a massive. Tyrese Forner, playing his part. Jake Evans as well, or is it Jack Evans? Can't remember. On loan from Leicester, he looked a real handful up front and offered them something a little bit different. I think it's look, it's a bad point. Cobblers at this point of the season need to be getting 3 points rather than 1 point because they are that dire. But we're still talking about a team that needs to go and get 1.5 points between now and the end of the season to really stay up. You'd imagine 15 points from 11 games, just under 1.5 points, would maybe do the job for them. Is it out of the realms of possibility? Probably not. I think they can take a lot of positives out of the performance yesterday. Peterborough, season over, really, I think. Not winning away at Northampton in the form that they're in. Even Port Vale went there on Tuesday and got a win. Yes, they're only 6 points off. No games in hand, though. But no win in the last 4 as well. It does stink to me like Luke Williams is maybe now going to start testing ahead of next season, just blooding the youngsters in a little bit, seeing who the assets that they've got on the books rather than maybe playing the loanies. We maybe see Jimmy J Morgan have his role capacity limited a little bit. So yeah, it's difficult, but a decent point for Cobblers.
You say that there will be deals, there will be agreements in contracts of said agreement that you'll have to play games. So that's why teams in January don't necessarily want to do deals, because you've got to play them realistically and you can't keep them. You've got to play them, but you might see them a little bit less starting wise. Port Vale again 1-1 against Luton. Look at the stats. They've competed again. And under Brady, I think they'd be a lot better off because they compete now. They are in games. You just don't have that luck or that nitty-gritty to consistently get results. Had a great result on the weekend against Northampton, obviously in a game we can cover, but because all these games in hand happen at different times and there's only 2 or 3 games. But you look at Port Vale now and they've got something about them. They're trying something a bit differently. But they are 10 points adrift. They have got games in hand, don't get me wrong. But look at through February, 1-1 against Reading, where they fought, they competed. Again, I thought they were more than merit. They probably could have won that game, to be fair. Stevenage away, again, they lost by the odd goal. They weren't great that night. But they are now within games. They got a point against Burton, lost narrowly to Wimbledon. All season, I think, for Vale, it's been similar. Vale have been bottom of the league and they've not been great. They've been a bit dour. But you go through their results, they've been very unfortunate in double figures of them, where they probably could nick a point. And if they had something a bit about them a bit more, they could have got it. But ultimately, is it buts and maybes? For Luton, this is another disappointing result for them, isn't it? And the pressure's really building on Jack Wilshere. 47 points now. They've only won 8 of their last 24 games, which they've won 8, they've drawn 8, they've lost 8. Luton Town, under Jack Wilshere in this division, 8-8-8. That is mid-table as you'll ever see it. Naki Wells scoring. Are you watching an interview with him yesterday? No, today. I watched about 2 minutes of it. Body language all over the place. And once you're around the players, you look through mannerisms. He was like this. Obviously, there was no connection there. There was no him looking at the camera, convinced. He looked lost. This is one of your bagsmen that scored to get you in front in the last 2 games, and you've not won them. You've drawn them against Burton and Port Vale. Realistically, Luton, if you want to get in the playoffs, you need to be winning them. And if they did win them, 51 points, a point outside with a game in hand, things look rosy. They're 5 points off now. Tough games coming as well. They are in an EFL semi-final against Northampton. That might distract them, but I think this is getting towards it, petering out.
Yeah, I think you're right with Luton. It feels like they've got to that point of the season where it's win or bust for them, doesn't it? Because they are that. I know it doesn't look on paper like they're far out of the playoffs, but their performance levels are absolutely nowhere near of a top 6. And to go away to Port Vale, a team who are cut adrift at the bottom of the table, an only draw. Yes, you get in front nice and early, but they don't then go and how we spoke about Bolton earlier. They went and stood on the throat of Exeter. Luton, I just don't think have that in them, and that surprises me with the abundance of talent that they have up the top end of the pitch. Clicker up in the 10, Wells. They've got Richards. Gideon Kadua, Casey Palmer, Ali Al Hamadi. these are top players, for League One. So it's so confusing as to why it's not worked for Luton Town this season. But for Port Vale, decent point. I think, like you say, they've had a couple of draws, haven't they, recently? Reading and then this one. If they'd have turned both of those into wins, Ben, like you said in your TikTok a little bit earlier, they'd be a lot closer to the rest of the bottom four. But it's just a story of their season, and they can't get over the line. It's a bit of a shame for Port Vale, but yeah, unsavoury for Luton. I think Jack Wilshere has a long way to go to win the respect of Luton Town fans.
Mansfield are going on that streaky run again, where they went that really good run. Now they're going without a win again. Another point at home against Wimbledon. Two sides that are petering towards 50 points. Wimbledon have been a lot better of lately, to be fair to them. But again, Mansfield had the lead twice in this game and pegged back twice. Very good game of football, to be fair. 14 shots to 16, 6 shots to 4. Both sides trying to win it, could have lost it. Mansfield, it's another solid point towards it. It's 40 points now on the board with 14 games to go for them. Obviously, they've got the FA Cup game coming up against Arsenal. Obviously, to be fair to Mansfield, they come up against set pieces all the time. So, coming up against a side that are just set piece FC and bang average in the Premier League. Other than that, they should be fine, shouldn't they? No, I'm sorry. I'll be nice to anyone else. I can't stand him. I like 91 managers in this league. I can't hide my emotion towards Mikel Arteta. No, I can't do it.
He's so unlikable, isn't he?
I can't stand Arsenal as a football club. I
wonder why. There's
something about them.
Because Spurs are one of the 4 clubs that you support.
They're not in the top 10 anymore. So because they lose. But Manchester's record: 10 wins, 10 draws, 12 defeats. Not bad. Wimbledon, 43 points, another point closer to safety. They picked up really well because there's a run where they had 16 games, picked up 8 points. To return after that and pick up points slowly just shows you in a season you'll have your ups, you'll have your downs, you'll have your mids, and that's what Wimbledon are on right now.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Ben. 2 teams that I think will just meander to the end of the season, that will be on the beach. I think any team that plays these, that has something to play for, I think they'll find these games favourable against both of them. 2-2 draw. John Russell, the only player for Stags that actually looked like scoring on the weekend. Great goal for him. Wimbledon come from behind twice. Good character away from home. It's a good point for them, I think. Better point for Wimbledon than it was for Mansfield.
Absolutely so. So, if you haven't already, please give us a like. This will see if you win. So, thank you very much. I appreciate that. You could like, you could subscribe. That'd be massively appreciated. So, yeah. We're going to predictions, Jakey.
Hello, Ben.
For God's sake.
Hello, Ben. So, midweek, 3 games. We both got the outcome of one right, but we didn't get. That was it. We both got a point. Meaning you were on 2-2-4 and I was on 2-3-2 going into the weekend's games. Ben, how many points do you think you've got this weekend?
2.
No. Don't do yourself a disservice.
3.
3? You got 3 points. Well done, mate. Do you know how many points I got?
12.
I'm not quite that good.
10.
I got 9. I got 2 correct scores, Ben. You didn't get any.
Why? Every year do you have to beat me?
To be honest, I was quite fortunate, really. I mean, certainly one of them. I got the Reading Bradford.
You know something, right? You beat me at predictions, right? Your team going up. Honestly, do you want me just to quit YouTube and never to be seen again?
No, of course I don't. Life could be about to be very mint, couldn't it, really, thinking about it? I got the Reading Bradford score right. So thank you to that unnamed goal scorer that I won't give any credit to, and Matt Ritchie for scoring the goals to turn it around. Much appreciated. Meaning, Ben, you were on 227 and I am in front on 240 points.
Hold on.
It's not won and lost yet. It's only March. Remember this, Ben. You were in front. You were in front at the back end of last year and bottled it. So I could easily bottle it.
Oh, I thought we had finished on Arsenal now.
Eh?
I thought we stopped talking about Arsenal.
You're top of the league, mate. Right, Ben. Tuesday night.
It won't be come May.
Tuesday night, 3 more games, Ben, for you to...
Lovely.
Rotherham versus Mansfield is first.
Rotherham 2, Mansfield 1.
I'm going to go Rotherham 1, Mansfield 1, I think. Exeter versus Burton. I'm going Exeter 0, Burton 0.
Exeter 0, Burton 1.
You reckon they win?
Yeah. You can just see David coming home going, yeah, get in, being in the front.
He is just going to bed. So safe trip tomorrow, David, down to Exeter. I know he's on the coach, though. So
is he?
It's going to be a long way for you on the coach. I've done Exeter before on the coach, and it was a long old day.
Oh, I've done it many times. I might go to Gillingham on the Saturday. Might. See how I feel.
Finally, Ben, for Tuesday, Barnsley against Wycombe Wanderers.
Barnsley 2, Wycombe 1.
Barnsley 1, Wycombe 1. I think we're having 3 draws on Tuesday night. Entertaining. Right, Ben. Me first. Huddersfield against Rotherham. Huddersfield 1, Rotherham 1. Another draw.
Huddersfield 2, Rotherham 1. How's the splinters, mate?
Yeah, good. I don't think I'm going to have any splinters here, though. Cardiff against Lincoln, Ben. The biggest game of the League One season so far. I know what
game was it?
The biggest game of the weekend and the season so far.
Cardiff 2, Lincoln 1.
Just what I was going to go for.
Sorry, I've got a bit of a twitch.
Have you? I'll go Cardiff 1, Lincoln 1 then. I'll back the draw if we're not going to. I think maybe the unbeaten run comes to an end, but I don't think it. And then I imagine
going 18 unbeaten in the League One season isn't for everyone. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I imagine then what Bolton fans will say. Oh, we're going to make up ground on Lincoln because they'll beat whoever they've got at home, Wycombe on Saturday, and then we'll just go and beat Exeter on Tuesday and be back 10 points clear. So these things happen. Keep up, Bolton. Plymouth against Doncaster. For me, I'm going to go Plymouth Argyle 2, Doncaster Rovers 0.
Yeah, Plymouth 3, Doncaster 0.
Yeah, Bin Pebble on the score sheet in that game, guaranteed. Ben, Peterborough United against Surrey Play, Port Vale.
2-0 Peterborough.
I'm going to go... Peterborough always concede. Peterborough 2, Port Vale 1.
That's just a Peterborough thing, isn't it? No matter what the manager is, no matter what the team.
Luton against Reading. This is just Luton at home. I don't see them losing. Luton 1, Reading 1.
Luton 2, Reading 1.
Yeah, I think that could well happen.
I think they need a win. I think they need a win. They need to win this game.
Burton Albion against Stevenage, Ben.
Oh no, I think it was 0-0 last year. 0-0. But that again, if Burton got 4 points out of this week, David can go very happy.
Burton Albion 2, Stevenage 1.
Is it just like one of those games that you can't win in? Like, if it's a draw, it's obviously both of them are quite...
Correct.
Burton, when you've got Dave going... Stevenage, when you go... I think it's more unfair. I think Farley will be more unfair if they won that.
Yeah, I'd rather just finish a draw. -1, -1. Ben, did you go first for that one, or did I? You did, didn't you? Bradford against Leyton Orient. I'm going Bradford 2, Leyton Orient 0. They've turned into Stockport at home from last year.
Bradford 0, Leyton Orient. No, Bradford 1, Leyton Orient 2.
Wow.
Richie Wellington's going to find something.
Ben, Bolton 1. I've had this one since I wrote it down. The Battle of the Lost Men. Bolton Wanderers against Wycombe Wanderers. They're wandering, but they don't know where.
Yeah, well, Bolton obviously wandering towards Wembley Way, aren't they?
Fighting talk. Come on in, Bolton. Do you want it?
No, I'm saying they're going to get to a playoff final. I think that's quite nice. Bolton 2, Wycombe 1. They'll win.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm only joking, Bolton fans, but truth hurts.
I think they found a scoring touch. Bolton 3, Wycombe 1.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for. Ben, no, me first. For your favourite team, Blackpool against Wigan, I'm going to go Blackpool 0, Wigan Athletic 1.
Blackpool 2, Wigan 1.
In the biggest surprise of the year.
There's a reason. There's a reason.
Barnsley.
Mate, you don't understand it. They just. I don't think you realise, like, these things don't happen around here. Blackpool will stay up. What will happen? And then Blackpool are back. And then Blackpool are going to win the league. And Blackpool are this. And Blackpool this.
Barnsley against Exeter.
Barnsley 2. Exeter won here last year, didn't they? 2-1. And didn't they get that
record at Oakwell, I think.
I don't know. I think last couple of years, they always like a little picture in front of the stand, don't they? Barnsley 2, Exeter 1.
Yeah, you always back Exeter to score with Jaden Wareham.
Always back Barnsley to concede as well, but score.
Yeah, Barnsley 1, Exeter 1. And then Sunday, Ben. Sunday, why this game's on a Sunday?
What?
AFC Wimbledon against Northampton Town. I'm first. I'm going to go. Cobblers went there and won in the Vroom Vroom Vars.
What?
Wimbledon 1, Cobblers 2.
Wimbledon 1, Cobblers 1.
2.
I was going to go for that. I go the other way. Wimbledon 2, Cobblers 1. Shock. You go for Cobblers win. Brown.
That's what
happens, doesn't it? Well, thank you very much. There's 100 of you. So if you haven't already, give us a like, subscribe. Any final questions, get them in. Tell you what, I'm tired. I've had 4 days in Prague, got back with the League One live. Thank you for sticking with me. I'm off to Walsall tomorrow, not in Poland, in Birmingham, so I can't wait for that.
It's a short show for me and you tonight, Nappers, 1 hour 37.
Yeah, exactly. I tell you what, you not be nice. I'm a big believer. Sometimes you need to express yourself. You need to burst energy. Well, last season, it's nice to go back to the playground of last season where we just scored 6. Just happened, didn't it? 6 away from home. We were in the playoffs. It was all going well. And then, we...
what happened after that?
We just went... Since after we beat Gillingham as well, we just went... Plop! Not great. I'm coming to see you in a few weeks, aren't I?
Yes, mate, for the game against Rotherham, which is the biggest banana skin on the planet right now.
I can just see that being Lincoln 0, Rotherham
1. Yeah, Joe Powell scores. Or Sam Nomble. Even worse.
Comes over to me and you and just goes.
Yeah, we knew this was happening.
Why always me?
Yeah, yeah. No, it's tough. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, mate. It's a nice Friday. Obviously, I've had some good news today, so very, very happy myself. I'm looking forward to seeing you, mate. We'll play some five-a-side, won't we, in a couple of weeks? I'll get to show you how to do it properly. Just a good show, mate. Obviously, if you're doing the show on Sunday, obviously I won't be here. I'm going to see my sister in Newcastle on Sunday.
See your mum?
Going to see my sister.
Oh, sorry, I just thought the same things in Lincoln.
Yeah, right, good fun. I'm going to see my sister in Newcastle. She's recently started a new job up there, or she started a job with a new team up there. So I'm excited to go and see her on Sunday. And then I've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off work then, because on Tuesday night I'm getting in the Suemobile and going to Exeter on the Tuesday night afterwards. So
working Wednesday?
No, I'm off Wednesday. So technically there's enough games, Ben, for there to maybe be a Wednesday show.
What, this week?
No. Next week. So
have a look.
I'll tell you. So next Tuesday, Ben, you've got Donny Luton, Reading, Mansfield. You've got Stevenage, Leyton, Orient, Exeter, Lincoln, Plymouth, Wigan, Port Vale, Bradford, Barnsley, Cardiff. And then on the Wednesday, you've got Wimbledon.
We'll do a show.
So you've got 8 midweek games.
We'll do a show.
We'll do a show when I've just taught myself into an extra bit of work, haven't I? Well done, Jake.
Good lad.
I'm good for that.
I might need to go tell someone I can't see her, but it should be fine. I'll just appease her. It'll be fine. We played Cheltenham on that Tuesday. Yeah.
Home or away?
At home.
What? That's the camera shy derby, isn't it? You and Josh talk.
I'm camera shy now, mate. My Fleetwood Town vlogging days done, down, gone. Well, thank you very much for watching. Hope you've all enjoyed. Please like, please subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much, Jake, from here for the Lincoln podcast.
I'll see everybody in just over a week.
Yeah, absolutely. And genuinely, I really appreciate everyone's support, Jake's support, the viewers. It's been a long weekend, so I appreciate every one of your support. Look, we might not be one of the best we might not be in the top 2 League One podcasts out there, but ultimately, we're a League One podcast. So, I appreciate everyone that's watched, subscribed, commented, and, hopefully one day we'll make it into the top 3.
Hopefully.
Podcast.
If they're the judge, mate, I'm not backing us anytime soon, to be honest. But who cares about them?
Thanks for watching.
Oh my God, I'm going to get some evils, mate. I'm going to get some evils. Uh-oh.
I should have said that.
Oh, well. Hi, Gary.